Ahlan wa sahlan, ahlan wa sahlan. Hello, this, you see, I say hi. It's no bombs, okay, man? See, I know this. You, as an Iranian, you have to always carry this suspicion that you having something, I don't know, somewhere. We don't know. I fuck this America, man. Son of a Gutenberg. Listen, so it's not a new thing. Matter of fact, not something too much that deserves attention, perhaps. I mean, basically what I'm saying is that talking about this subject per se, it's nothing that makes creates resolution, resolves things, or so forth. But I thought it's my part also to try to pitch in and try to, throw in a few words in regards to the sanctions, basically, that U.S. is imposing on Iran. Yeah, it's almost the same thing. You can say that too. So the thing about it is that, I just read also, this is nothing new. I mean, funny, I've been living in this country for 16 years now, and prior to that, I was in my country, Iran, and I remember it was the same fucking shit, man. Ever since I can recall, it was always these sanctions going on, and it was just a matter of fact, now that I swear to God, I'm talking about this right now, it's just like this image is etched in my head. I remember it was just like yesterday. I was like, matter of fact, I was like 16, 14, something like this, and I remember one of these basically the state TV was doing an interview with a man, with a few people, and I remember this one man piece of interview, they were asking him what does he think about the US sanctions on Iran. This goes back about 20 years ago when I was in Iran, so year 1998, 97, 96, something like this, or even maybe 95, something like that. I remember I was a young man, 13, 14, something. I don't remember the exact date, but I do remember this one, definitely like this one piece of the whole thing. They were asking him what does he think as an Iranian citizen about the sanction. He said, you know what, we don't give a shit, basically, F you, and it actually is going to make us stronger. It will create more resistance, which is, guess what? Is actually the exact idea behind this whole thing. Kind of like, basically it's all a plot. It's all, and the way it works is that it's just kind of like exactly what America did with 9/11. They came up with this glorious new theme called terrorism, which it doesn't take on a certain color. You can literally just point finger and say, yo, this motherfucker's a terrorist. Got it. You're on it. You know what I mean? That's all you got to do. It's a brilliant, genius thought. All you have to do is just say this motherfucker's a terrorist. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't take on a certain color. You don't have to be black. You don't have to be brown. You don't have to be white. You don't have to be Asian. You don't have to be Middle Easterner. Yeah, it's something that transcends that thing, and it's a beautiful thing where gives you a leverage to try to what you want to do, and but the whole thing was really giving an excuse to America so it can go on its further adventure and expedition that it's doing. So the sanctions really on Iran, yeah, just like this man said it, and they know this. Funny, now that we're talking about it, this twofold thing, basically. So basically what it does is that ultimately it will just lead to further government, what's the word for it? Welding power and, concentrating power in name of trying to create that room for people to survive. How do you say it? It will basically strengthens the government's, Iranian regime's government's hold on people's lives. That's the only thing that's going to happen, because people are going to see, like, what? Yeah. Because truly, this is the thing, who is this really hurting? as fucked up that it is, basically, the sanctions don't hurt no politician, no Iranian politicians, or minimally. You know what I mean? They don't hurt politicians. They hurt the people. The whole deal with the oil, which it's too much to talk about it. You know, it's just a piece of the whole thing. You know, oil is Iranian oil export is just a part of the game. You know, it's just a very small fraction of the whole thing. And who are the people really gonna get hit here? The average Iranian Joe, or Hassan, if you will, you know, or Hussein, or you know, sometimes Tony, or you know, Arshad, you know, Kurosh, Arash, you know. It's not funny, matter of fact, but you know, it's funny, you know. The worst part is that you can't do anything about it. If you start talking about it, oh, I'm sorry, are you trying to tell us you're a terrorist, dude? No, I'm not trying to tell you, you know, nobody's a terrorist. Terrorist is you who's destroying people's lives. That's what you are. You know, you don't really necessarily have to. And the funny part is that, you know, speaking of terrorism, I don't understand this thing. You know, what I'm saying is that, not that I'm for it. I mean, see, the technical definition, I had to go on off topic, but the technical definition of terrorist is basically a non-government entity that gets engaged in violence in trying to achieve political or financial gains. That's the definition of terrorism. And according to that, neither US government nor the Iranian government will qualify as terrorists. How cool is that? You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that I don't understand. So how can you know? So it's not okay to say America is a terrorist, American government, but of course the Iranian government is a terrorist. Or I'm sorry, I know, yes, of course, is a sponsor of terrorists, but of course not. Oh, say America, America, say America is the most wonderful people in the world. Please, sir, be nice, you know, be fair, justice, you know, become very nice people, you know. Maybe every 2 years they just kill maybe 20 million people, that's nothing, you know. Sir, please, you know. No, man, this is quite cool, man, no, seriously, you know, because psychology works, man, and you son of a bitch, man, you don't know what the fuck you're doing, because I'm not talking about American people. I have people in Iran. I've traveled to Iran. I've met people. I've talked to people that when you tell them about America doing shit, they come up and tell you, you know what? No, you know what? America is a wonderful people, man. There's nothing. They know it, but they deny it in your face. So I'm saying kudos to you. Congratulations, because you know what? You have quite of fans globally. The people you are sabotaging, they love you. How cool is that, man? You know? And this is Iranian people. We're not talking about some average dude who, you know, what we say is that, you know, we say this thing in my language, it wins, they're like a, you know, a grass piece where 1 second are blowing that way and 2 seconds are blowing this way. No, that's not what it is. Iranian people, they fucking, they can think, most of them. Not all of them, but most of them can think. And this is coming from them, you know, this is a big deal. So, bottom line is that this is the thing, man. This is quite the whole theme of this recording video that I'm making is that, you know, it's such an awfulness because nobody's really gonna get hurt here, but the poor people that basically they can't afford any living, you know, and they have to suffer. You're destroying people's lives, and trust me, I mean, I hate to say this, but I mean, it's because it's irrelevant. You don't have to necessarily try to tell people what are you doing or the consequences, stuff like that, you know. But, I mean, where do you think this is going to go? You know, I mean, you know, you can have a brilliant global network of secret services, which that is what they do have. America, that's what America has, or the allies, or whoever you want to say, and it's And I have to, as horrific that it is, I have to say the mind behind it, or the minds behind it, are pretty brilliant. But the thing about it is that, God forbid if somebody beats the system, you know, what are you gonna do? And this is not a new thing. Anyways, but this is a big deal, man. And I was watching the news, and it's not, you don't have to be a genius to think that these, not my words, or nor you have to be a genius. I'm listening to the news, and this CBS, everybody else is saying, but you know, the people are getting hurt, but nobody gives a shit. What is this country, man? You know? And speaking of the country of democracy, what is this democracy where you're doing all kinds of shit, people? You went to Iraq. I remember, should I say this or not? I remember I used to read New York Times every day in 2003, 2002. And I remember at least basically giving credit a bit. I remember every day I read New York Times, there's just one thing. They would refer to United States Army as the invasion force. It was scared the invading forces did this. The invading forces did. That's just the exact thing. So you go unilaterally against all the conventions, global thing, not a new thing. They've been doing this for a long time. US does this all the time. I'm sorry, what you said, sir? What I need to do? Oh yes, of course, yes. We will. Now today we are busy. We are taking troops to this country. Tomorrow we will discuss this matter. And the UN people are like, oh, of course, yes, I know. We do this all the time. We are familiar with your with your. It's not funny. It's destructive. But you know what can you do? You just have to. If you want to be actually able to do something about it, you have to, you know, try to be funny about it, and you have to try to think of a solution. But it's really devastating. I mean, you know, what these poor people have to do. And speaking of this whole pattern going back to 25 years ago, or 30, pretty much ever since the revolution, it was just a matter of time where they actually started executing or implementing these sanctions. I don't know how much you know about the Iranian Revolution, but best I can, as somebody who knows more or less about this system, or everybody else, my parents, everybody, say, you know what? Of course, UK, US, these son of Gutenbergs, they came up with this whole concept of the revolution. The Shah, he was a son of a Gutenberg also. But one thing that he was doing was like, you know what? I will put this money in people's pockets. I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do with it. Maybe they're gonna, I don't know. But I'm giving these people, you know what? They're gonna have a share of this shit. Maybe not everybody had of it. Maybe it was still some sort of a class system. What I do know is that my dad, my mom, they never talk shit about it. Nobody. Speaking of the real story, real life, people who lived that kind of life. My dad had a picture of, I remember going back to 10 years ago when we came to US. It was kind of a weird thing for me, matter of fact. But I remember he actually, against my brother is a bit of a, he's a true American basically. So he has this whole, or my house, my money, my things. And my dad was like, fuck you, you know what, you know. You can go, stick it up your ass. And he went and grabbed the picture of this Shah, the king, Muhammad Reza Shah, and he put it on the wall. He loved this man so much. And who is he? He's nothing. He had nothing. He never met this man. He was not a political man. He used to work for the Iranian oil company. That's what it was. And yes, this is the fact, and most Iranians know, but the people who did work for the Iranian oil money, their salaries for some reason seem to be like exponentially higher than an average Iranian person. Nonetheless, though, most people you talked about, the ones who were not involved in any kind of political opposition or opposition factions or whatever stuff you want to call about it, they were all sore by this man. Said this was wonderful. They had anything they wanted. Excuse me, they had pussy, they had booze, Simple thing, right? What a human being, for the most part, they want. Woman and wine. And the bitches seem like to love it too, right? They, for some reason, it matches, it suits their interests too. They love to show off their body. They love to, I don't know if it means them making some money here too. I'm an outsider. I'm not from, I do have human traits, but really, my non-human traces, traits makes me quite not much like humans. What I'm trying to tell you, yes, so it works. They have what they wanted. They had the money to pay for this damn thing. They had the woman and wine. That is, yes, I mean, today in Iran, if you're rich even, well, there are venues to get to that business, but for the most part, you could even have money, kind of like the Arab world, like these Arab countries, how do you say this shit? If I don't know how much you're familiar with, but most of these Arab countries, even though they're very rich, not that they don't do that business of women and sex and shit, but what they do is that they just don't do it inside the Arab countries, because technically you can get fucked for that business. You know what I'm saying? The lady you're married to, she been waiting all these years for that moment she can revenge on you for that one fact. You know what I'm saying? All the torture you did, abusing that you did on your woman, she been waiting all her life for that one. This is this fucking psychopath there. She's standing there, she's watching on me. How stupid people are. You can't really see them. And I don't, I just don't even want to tell her, I wanted to just wave her and tell her, just trying to tell her, I'm not stupid, I saw you, you know what I'm saying? I know she saw me that I saw her, that's why she turned her face. It's just that, I'm trying to tell her, it's stupid, I mean? And the funny is that these are women, like, speak of this, I'm the kind of person who, devil doesn't have a certain gender. I say hi to people all the time, to women, man, especially women, because I have respect so much for women. And today just hurts so bad, especially this last round I said hi to this young girl. And I don't know, what is this thing? They just don't say a word back to you. They hear you saying hi. It's so fucking offensive. Somebody says hi to you, you don't say hi back. Especially you're sitting in a restaurant somewhere where you're actually kind of dining along with them, not on the same table maybe, but you know what I'm saying? It's just so fucking, I don't know, maybe I don't care, but it seems like they don't give a shit. Oh my god, we're gonna be spending fucking another 20-30 minutes sitting here. This son of a Gutenberg is sitting over there, we're sitting here. All you have to do is just fucking say hi. What's so difficult about this shit? Why you have to make it so fucking shitty, No, it just hurts so bad. And yeah, speaking, devil doesn't come in a certain gender. You wish that would be the case, but no. And these, somebody called them bitches for no reason. No, there was a reason. So anyways, long story long. Hallelujah. Good fucking God, you gotta praise this woman. Hallelujah. She wears high heels and lingerie stuff so she can go with her husband. Apparently he's with a man to go in the Chinese restaurant, Chinese grocery store doing how cool is that? Praise the Lord. You have to appreciate these ladies. So anyways, as I've explained to you, hey pussy, bichita, pusita. Oh, I think she just had a moment of orgasm. She was looking at me and I was like, oh shit, time's up, gotta go. So anyways, back to the I'm sorry, what we're talking about. Yeah, these motherfucker sanctions, this son of a Gutenberg. So yeah, so speaking of Iranians, no man, if you weren't involved in that kind of a business, which I think the whole opposition, matter of fact, going back to Shahstam, it seems so obvious that even the oppositions were a fucking plot. Like, you know, it's just fake enemy created. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to create that friction, you know, tension, trying to say that Shah is a bad person. Yes, he was a bad person because he was also part of the plot. You know what I'm saying? But really, these all were false enemies that they created so he can do shit to them. And that will become an excuse for justice in the name of freedom. So, son of a Gutenberg, Mr. Khomeini, as an agent of America, can take over the power. You can rise and shine and say, oh, I'm a defender of justice. I see all these awful things been happening to these people and I want to fight for them and join me. And they were like, yes, for sure, of course, we're with you, man. You go ahead and we're behind you. And they were behind him. They said, this motherfucker got balls, you know. So you please go ahead, sir. Please, no problem. You're grave. And this motherfucker got the balls because he had the protection. They were thinking something else. Everybody had a different thought in their head. They thought this is actually real. You know, they said, you know what? We'll make this motherfucker Khomeini. He can go ahead. He got balls. He's talking shit all the time. Yeah, please do so, please. Now, you know, you have to know about this. This is a real thing. This guy, Khomeini, in case you wonder why he was never silenced, there are a few issues here. Number one, going back to the 1906, probably, if I'm not mistaken, when the constitutional excuse me, revolution happened in Iran. Basically, you know, ever since the Safavids, going back about 1500 years, I mean, that's aside, the clergies, the Muslim clergies, historically in Iran have been, especially since the Safavids, 1500s forward, 500 years ago, so forth, they were holding massive amounts of influence and support from ordinary people, where, you know, you find even people who you might think actually got some brain because you think they're businessmen, they got money. They even, no, it's really the fall for these people. I never forget, man. I used to work for these Turkish people, Iranian, Turkish, or Azeri, whoever should they call them. They never call them Azeris. What the fuck is Azeri, man? You know, they're Turk. So,
excuse me. What is Turkish and Azeri? I don't understand.
Because Azar is actually, it's called Azerbaijan, you know, this is, it comes, Azar is a Persian word, matter of fact, it means, you know, basically sun, that's what it means. And, name Azerbaijan, matter of fact, as the name of the country, is basically means Azarpadgan, which means, that's where it comes from, which means, you know, the guardian of fire. You know, all these regions back in the day used to be big part of, they're all very Zoroastrian, you know, heavy supporter of Zoroastrianism. That's simple said. So, you know, Muslim clergy ever since, you know, 1500 years, they've always holding a lot of power, and at some point they became very active during the constitutional revolution we had in 1913, and that was when they really got integrated into the whole political scene. And people were actually looking up to these people, maybe by perhaps propaganda, maybe by, you know, basically making up stories and feeding, you know, whatever, however you want to call it, name of God, glory, divinity. This man isn't clergy, he does everything for God and goodness and shit like that. Okay, yes, please, yeah, of course. That's another story, but this is a thing, and specific to this son of a Gutenberg, Khomeini, they were so well established themselves in the political scene that they were granted some kind of how do you say, immunity. So there were laws that were created that if you're actually you are of a certain class of a clergy, that is, you know, you're high level clergy, you could be granted immunity if you start talking shit to the king or whoever it is. You know, they can't do shit. I mean, they can do shit about you, but they can't kill you. That's one thing about it. So, excuse me. So, when this motherfucker started talking shit to Mohammad Reza Shah, at some point, actually, he says, you know what? He wants to kill him. And he actually, wrote this, said, so, this son of a Gutenberg is talking too much, man. Please go, I think he's asking for something. And actually, he writes the, order for his execution. And some of these clergies who were friend of this man, they write a letter back to Muhammad Reza Shah saying, no, he has reached, what they call ijtihad, the certain level of clergy where, you can't really do that to him anymore. They lie about this. He had not gotten to that level yet. That's the account that I know of. They said, speaking of, there's all kinds of shit, rumors around, so I don't want to say I wasn't there. I've not been anywhere, so, I can't say anything for 100% if that's what you want to pull up on me, you know what I'm saying? So, and going forward, the king, the Shah, was the whole time is under the impression that the son of a Gutenberg is actually, he can't do shit about this motherfucker, and he's gonna run his mouth, and the best he can do is just lock him up in his house, arrest him in his house, or send him outside, whatever, but he can't really, do anything serious about it. And of course, the whole time he's being actually, trained by CIA and America and so forth. They're funding him, they're marketing him, and they're like, yeah, man, no problem. Don't worry, man. Because he has the confidence that, he's got what he wants. It's all part of the plan. And the whole time he's also been compensated for his big mouth, running. So yeah, this is how it happened, and how do you say that? Everybody was lining up behind him. Also, there's all the what do you call the Tudeh party? The Communist Party, if you will. All the activists, the political prisoners, stuff like that. The ones who were, because there were lots of political problems. There's tons of problems, similar to the way actually it is right now. It's just that, how do you say that? Most people didn't have much reason to become a political activist. Kind of like Saudi Arabia. When you have food on your table, and you can't have 4 wives, glory to God, right? How cool is that? Not 1, not 2, 3. Shit, man, I'm 34. I ain't got no pussy in my life. I'm a fucking virgin. That's my choice, but I'm saying, well, what I'm saying is that I wish I had one woman where I could at least have some kind of, lifestyle. I ain't got none of that. Now, you grew up in Saudi Arabia, happen to be a rich man, where the best I know, they say the government actually pays you around $2,000. They get universal base incomes. I mean, I'm not sure if that's what they call it, or that's the thing that they have officially have labeled it as, but you get a considerable sum of money, around $2,000, basically as a share of the oil, as an Saudi citizen or Kuwaiti citizen, or I think similar thing for the rest of the Arab Gulf nations who are in the business of the oil. You get that. And yeah, the women are fine with, I don't know how fine they're with it, but this is what's been happening ever since in Saudi Arabia, especially in all the Muslim world. And so yeah, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. And they're so cool about it. Bless your heart. They say, Muhammad said, if you can't feed the woman, yes, please do so. Have as many as you want. God bless you. You are providing for the lady, and yes, of course, that is her job to also, I'm sorry, to also, who gives a shit, man? They do it here everywhere. It's one man and woman is the same thing, right? They all want to do shit all the time. It's not. Yes, I'm sorry. Humans are very weak people, and so forth. But that's another story. But long story short, what I'm trying to get at is that, how do you say that? So they're enjoying themselves. Everything's cool, Life is beautiful for them. They're doing that kind of a business, and nobody gives a shit. And in Iran, it was the same thing. Speaking of nobody else, but the people I grew up in, and they lived throughout the whole time with while Mohammad Reza Shah was in power, and my mom, everybody was so cool about it. They loved this man. I never heard my mom or my dad anytime bitching about him. I never heard anything. If a matter of fact, if I start telling him about a few things I've heard about the political setting of his time, they would be like, I'm sorry, what is that? What is his Rastakhis? What is the one party political party called the Rastakhis or whatever? What is that? They don't even know what this fucking shit is. Is that, dude? There's one thing I can tell you I do know. I had a lot of fucking money in my pocket. I used to go fucking, excuse me, he used to fuck pussy, have a cigar, drink beer, clubs, cabarets. That's what I do know. And F you, obviously you don't know about that shit because you don't know how that feels like. You know what I'm saying? So, shut your mouth, pussy man. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me, that's the reality of it, you know. I mean, I live in here in America. I don't go to clubs because I just find it so fucking animalistic and sick, you know. I mean, you know, I have no reason to go in that kind of a crowd, you know. But that's just me, you know. And with the exception of a few people here or there who actually are rich and got tons of money, and they can afford to hang around a different lady every few nights here or there, or the same thing standing with ladies. You know, nobody really got that much of privilege. You know, you only have a few countries in the world who have that kind of the legal system that grants that, as well as the financing and the funding behind it to you can do it. You know what I'm saying? So yes, everything was cool. You know, everything was beautiful. Whatever the political situation was, obviously it did not apply to so many people to the extent that they wouldn't really care about it. Number two, they had the money, everything was cool, so everything was beautiful. And all of a sudden, you know, the revolution happens, and here you are. You don't have money. You don't have any. Oh, I'm sorry. Because I'm speaking of the U.S. plot. That's what I was trying to tell you. So yes, they said, man, this guy we were supposed to be. They put Shah in power in U.S. in 1953. They got rid of the son of a Gutenberg Mossadegh. Well, he was the son of Gutenberg for America because he started talking shit to U.S. and U.K. He humiliated these people. He had this law degree from Sweden, and as a matter of fact, he became a Swedish or citizen, matter of fact, because that back then, at least, I think, what I read about his biography, Dr. Mossadegh, is that being able to get his PhD in law, that was part of the requirement that they had to be a Swedish citizen. And he became a Swedish, so he was really a Swedish Iranian citizen, technically speaking. But he chooses, after that whole finishing his dissertation and getting his law degree, PhD, he comes back to Iran and starts running for government and stuff like that. And brilliant man somehow, yes, by forging an alliance with the clergies and so forth, and getting the popular vote of people who, for some reason, they're madly in love with the clergies, and clergies were supporting him. So it was like, cool, man. Yes, he knew all I had to do this. He got it. And he got there, but now he said, you know what? F the fucking son of a Gutenberg, America and England. Hey, motherfucking, you're not gonna get this oil money. That's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna let you do that. And he fought for this, and he nationalized the oil so he can take the share of these, the British oil company. Funny, you guys live in America. You don't know this BP sign. It stands for British Petroleum. You don't know that shit, right? Yes, I know this beautiful sunflower things. Of course, how could that have anything to do with the British oil company? Of course, it could not have anything.
So, really? It's American, British. Go crazy, okay? son of a Christopher.
I had an Iranian man stand in my face on the phone. He was telling me that the Muslims are satanic. He was born into a Muslim family, but he became Christian and said, the Muslim, he said to me,
Mr. Arash, Muslims are satanic, evil natured. And they used to always kill Christians, attack people and anti-Semitic.
I said, well, you're right, actually, quite true observation, but really, if you look at it in the history, the Christians were just doing the same thing. They started killing the Romans, the Jews were resisting converting to, Christianity to begin with, so they massacred a lot of Jews back in the day. Then Christianity was really taking roots, and after that, they started saying the same thing towards the Muslims. Muslims were saying that the Christians are pagans and it's okay to kill them. And the Christians said, you know what? The Muslims are pagan and it's okay to kill them. And that's how the Crusades got started. Everybody saying the same shit. Everybody being a son of a, jackass. Being a lizard brain. That's how you start having big problems. Just what we have today in our world. So you're giving sanctions. Really, you're feeding people to strengthen the government, power, and they push for more, basically, aggression and more aggressive actions towards America. Yes, perpetuating chaos, basically. And you got this son of a Gutenberg here in America who was the best thing that happens to the American political structure. And he talks shit about everything, and he's always up to fucking, running his mouth and, basically, labeling everybody as people that he very openly, explicitly says he hates, And this is why we have problems. Problems is not a good word. We have so much of shit going on, which nobody gives a shit about it. How cool is that? When you have a little problem, everybody's so high about it. When you have a little problem, everybody goes... When you have too much problems, like...
Oh, it was not me. I'm sorry, I have a football game I have to watch right now. No, it's okay. No, I was just trying to tell you that, if you charge too much tax.
How fucked up is that? I know this psychology, man. Since America is such a shithole country, man. These teeth, man. This is something that stands right in your face. And this is one of the reasons it's so expensive. It's such a privilege in America to have your teeth always straight and so forth. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you distinguish between people. You can tell who is together and is not together. This is how simply you can differentiate it in, class of society. The second they smile, you can tell from their teeth, how fucked up their lives is. And based on that, you can make a very quick, assessments on what you want to do with them. Yeah, the son of a glory man, the king of this America, who in turn suck on somebody else's dick, but yeah, you know what I'm talking about. When they run to some man who maybe he does some shopping in a shopping center or is just hanging around somewhere, it's the first thing they do. They do a little assessment, looking at his clothes and looking at his face and his teeth and shit like that. If he seems like a decent,
no problem, sir.
They don't even approach him. Just like when I was in Istanbul, and I do have a complexion of an Arab, Iranian, fucking Turkish, Middle Eastern generally, dark, whatever person. And one morning I was hanging out in Istanbul, and I don't know what was going on. There was some suspicion or something was happening, or all I know is that some son of a Gutenberg sitting in his car, and he starts beckoning me, and he's coming to me. I was like, oh shit, not again. And I started moving towards his car, and I said, how can I help you, sir? What's going on? And the second I start talking in English, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, sir. So just because if you can't speak the language, they know you're not from there, you know, because Turkish people don't speak English. Now this is actually quite of a very by 99% accurate, you know, high probability accurate way of telling who is Turkish and who's not, because Turks don't speak English. You know, Turks maybe really 1% if they're just some kind of a top university students, or they have some kind of business outside US, or is a kind of serious banking business, or they travel a lot for business, for you know, for their job, or their politicians. Yeah, of course, with the exception of Mr. Erdogan, who doesn't need that. Of course, he's he doesn't need to have that kind of a knowledge, or yeah, that's one of the glories of being a dictator. You don't need to know much of either, and you get to have a lot from not knowing anything. How cool is that, man? A little. Actually, being stupid is the best asset you got, because that's really what people want you to be in power for, and they put you as okay, the guy who doesn't know anything. Who are we gonna put in power? Let me think. Hassan has a graduate degree. Hossein has a high school diploma. Ah, I know. Erdogan has only. I don't think he can even read. Okay, perfect choice.
Erdogan, sir, please, we'd like to have you as a president of Turkey. Oh, you're such a handsome, wonderful. Does your dick work? Your penis work? Works, no? Works sometimes, not, maybe not. Okay, no problem either. Either way, you don't need to show it to us. Okay, it's perfect, no problem. It's better even, actually. Okay, wonderful. Erdogan, number one.
You promised you. Yeah, see, it's the same pattern throughout the world. Oh, Trump here in America. The less brain you got, the best choice you are for office, you know. Because the people who have little knowledge, even for their own protection at least, they don't talk too much shit. Because they know at the end of the day, they will be very quick to be kicked out, because they don't have anything to protect themselves. They can't argue too much for themselves either. So they have to either play along, even if they're against you, or if they talk shit, you're just like, you know what, excuse me, I'm sorry, we just found out that this son of a Gutenberg that we've been supporting for 20 years, he doesn't even have a freakishly, he's not even literally, he can't even read. That's aside from the fact that he can't speak any other language than Turkish. You know? And I don't think this man is fit for that kind of a business, and I advise the Turkish people to take arms and justice and fight for democracy and try to kick this motherfucker Gutenberg out of the country. And we want to let you know that as a president of America, and American people will support you. And we're there for you. If you ever need us, we actually have bases right here. Just get a little holler, and I'll be a person right there myself. So anyways, this is how the revolution happened in Iran, and here we are. I like to ask this is my final request from... This is wrong, man. Don't do this, man. You don't. This is not a good policy to try to hurt other people, you know, because this is how sad it is, you know. This conversation we are having, the same thing that I had with this. You can see this on perhaps YouTube. This Arna Shores. Ay, کیرم تو کاش مادرک کردم با این چراغای کثیفه. While I'm discussing this fucking message with your ass, I like to say this, man. You know, these lunar, is that how you say it? The moon light, the white light you put on your headlights. This fucks people's brains really up. Please don't, if nothing else, please stop driving these cars. Matter of fact, if nothing else, as a politician, if you ever get to see this, you don't want to do, please make a campaign for this one thing. All these cars, stop having these sick lights on.
easy, very, very fucks brains of people that the people who actually have brain.
You know, I know ordinary people don't give a shit about anything. Yes, it's good to not have a brain. Yeah. So please, this is one message I'd like to initially say. And yeah, speaking Terminator is basically goes back to year 000 and try to save the Jesus' lives from the Romans. And at some point, you know, this young man, Mr. Jesus, starts. He's killing the Roman soldiers, and he goes like, "I need to stop killing people." This is why. Because it's one of the God's commandments, thou shalt not kill. Why? Because it's a sin. Why? Because it's not nice. Why? Oh, forgive me, Father. He's just a robot from the future. And, you know, Arnold is looking at the sky, is trying to find out what is this man he's talking to. I'm sorry, this is unfortunately, it's not a sin sorry, but it's sorry for me that you guys don't get this or get it or don't give a shit about it. I'm talking to the wall. This doesn't make sense. You know, this is not right. You know, nobody has to go through this. I mean, I don't understand. You have something happen here as a 9/11 or some kind of a Jewish synagogue. Something happens. You go nuts about this and start pointing finger, terrorists, whatever, Iranian, goddamn son of a Gutenberg, they were involved. The anti-Semitism, goddamn. All this shit is happening around the world. Every fucking day there's an ethnic cleansing in one village in Africa. Nobody hears a word about it. Or people getting killed here or there. Or people suffering perpetually in this world. And nobody gives a shit about it. It's become too much usual story, I think, too much, right? Well, some fucking Jewish son of a evil gets killed here. Son of a, everybody all starting.
Oh, they killed Jewish men! Like that, you know. There's just only one.
Yes, I know, but there's nothing sweet about that either. It's just that, you know, I don't understand how is it this is a big deal, but that's not a big deal. I'm sorry, I cannot process the information here. You know? Yes, of course, the Jewish people's lives is more worthy. They're the chosen people than the rest of the people. That's the story, right? I think that's what you're trying to tell me. Koskish, motherfucker, stop doing this shit to people, man. This is wrong, man. These people, you don't do business like that, okay? You know, matter of fact, I want to tell you a story, man. You know, if you try to be a little bit less aggressive towards your trying to pile up your wealth, you can actually have a longevity in terms of trying to maintain your wealth. You know what I mean? You know, the less you... what I'm trying to say is that, you know, try to keep things, you know, at a level. Don't fuck too hard with people. This is the bottom fucking line. There's nothing wrong with you wanting to stay in power, being on top, trying to have the means of, you know, if you will, production, whatever you want to talk about, you know, having this capitalist society who only a few have on the 1%, 2% of society, and you as one of them you want to be. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's wrong, but that is okay. What is not okay is to do obvious shit to people. That is wrong. You know what I'm saying? And if you try to blend it and blur it out a little bit, it makes the world much better. You know, it doesn't have to be black and white, where only a few countries in the world are prospering, everything is more or less beautiful. You know, you have a few countries in the world where it seems like for the most part of the, you know, I have this friend in Iran, his name is Kurosh. I talk shit about America to him, and he goes like, and he gets mad at me. And he's an Iranian, his name is Kurosh even, you know. This part really hurts you. It's not this. What I'm trying... So he gets mad at me for talking shit to America, and he says, Arish, why you say that? Why you tell that, you know, America's like this, America's like that, you know? And I tell him, anyways, that's another story. But long story short, you know, I don't know how much more I need to explain this. But you know, the less you do this, your chances of trying to holding on to your assets and, you know, avoiding that kind of a clash at some points is much. I hate to do shit, people, man. This son of a, you know, this light I was telling you about, this is second car also. I think it always happens to me, and his lights is on. He left his lights on, I think. I mean, I think it will go off at some point. So we have people so insensitive. This is why we have so much problem in the world. And if it weren't for some kind of a legal requirement here in America, there's one thing that definitely me and Mr. Kurosh in Iran, we contended over. He said, you know, Arash, you know what? You talking shit too much about America. There's one thing about America. You know, that son of a evil who, wherever he's from, even he's American as a military or whoever shit it is, where he gets to be outside and does some kind of crap, or even in his own house, that kind of abuse to his wife or whatever crap is going on, when he gets out of his house, he tries to at least maintain some kind of a good image, more or less, towards other people, just so he can, you know, be accepted and try to be able to get to do what he wants to do. He said, no, that's not the case in Iran. Everybody's trying to eat everybody. Same thing with these people, you know. This is part of the legal side. Goes, they're so nice, everything's cool, but that taken apart, I don't have, they're just like in denial. Like, I don't have anything to do with it. Doesn't apply to me. It's not a necessity. It's not a requirement. I don't give a shit. This is why we have so much problem. Okay, man. Take care, okay? Have a good day, man. Or good life. Or neither one.